And welcome back to Washington Commanders Insider. Today, we're talking about the possibility of the Washington Commanders maybe making a trade. And so, look, I thought that this was pretty interesting considering that, this was brought up here by an analyst on ESPN, and they were talking about the possibility of the Washington Commanders maybe making a deal for a top wide receiver. And so, two of these receivers are going to be Dante Johnson of the Panthers and Devonte Adams. And really, the question here is that, with Adams, he's caught the 886 passes for 10,950 yards, 96 touchdowns. And I think that, yes, he would absolutely be an elite receiver wherever he goes. Would I love to have him at the Washington Commanders? Sure. Can you imagine Devonte Adams and then also to having scary Terry McLaurin out there? Like, I absolutely think that that would open it up in the passing game for Jaden Daniels. I think that Jaden Daniels is going to be able to go out there, and certainly now he is going to face some defenses that are going to be geared now to take away the pass. I think that's going to open it up for him. And then when they do step up or try to come for him, if he's able to keep his eyes down the field, then I think that that is going to create some big plays for the Commanders. Mix that in with Zach Ertz, Austin Eckler out there as well. Like, I think that that could be a real nightmare for any defense facing the Washington Commanders. And so with Dante Johnson, he showed some signs when he was with the Steelers. I don't know if necessarily that would take the lid off of defenses. I think that that reminds me a little bit of Jahan Dotson, and I'm not sure if that is something that's really going to move the needle for the Washington Commanders here. And it talks about the fact that, look, he has had a slow start, but the Panthers have struggled. He has just 5 receptions in 2 games. But the one thing that they say the Commanders would be having to do here is definitely send over some draft compensation. And the question is, would the Commanders want to do so? And it's saying that maybe the Commanders would want to do it if they are into contention at the start of November. And so, I'm all about improving the football team in any facet. And I think that for me, if there's a way to get out there and get Devonte Adams, I think that you certainly go ahead and do this. Pair him with a very talented rookie quarterback that I think is only going to get better each game. And in fact, I think you can argue in a lot of ways that right now, Jaden Daniels perhaps has looked the best of all the rookie quarterbacks out there that have actually got a chance to play and start. And so I think adding him would certainly help. And I think that that makes that offense a little bit more dynamic. But if we are going to consider trades, I've talked about this before. I think that the Commanders need to possibly look at defensive players. And I'm thinking about, what about EJ Speed, linebacker, Indianapolis Colts? Look, I know the Colts are off to a slow start going into this upcoming game, but here is a guy that had 102 tackles last season. He can absolutely get after it. And I absolutely love the fact that he is a physical linebacker. He's somebody that I think we could use to go along with Bobby Wagner. I've said this before. This is one of the things the Commanders have really struggled with, and that is tackling. And so I think that he would be a terrific fit for us if we could possibly go out and trade for him. Another player that I think that the Commanders might take a look at too is Buda Baker. I think that Buda Baker at the safety position would absolutely help the Washington Commanders secondary out there. I think you get somebody that will love to come up and actually tackle. And he is an elite playmaker. So he is going to be a ball hawk safety out there. Look, 6-time Pro Bowler. I'd love him in the Washington Commanders secondary. I think that he would definitely give us an added to that secondary and just give us an added to the defense in general. So I would love to get a player like that over to the Washington Commanders. Personally, if we're looking to make trades, I think defensively that makes a whole bunch of sense for me. And then I've also mentioned as well Hassan Reddick. I think that Hassan Reddick, if we were willing to open up the checkbook and really pay for him, I would love to have him over here. I think that Hassan Reddick will definitely help us on the edge. This is something that I think he would get to the quarterback on these natural rushes. I'm not sure that we would have to necessarily go out there and draw up a whole bunch of blitz. blitzes for him to get to the passer. Look, in 4 seasons, he's had 27 sacks, 49 quarterback pressures over the past two. So this guy definitely knows how to get to the quarterback. It's just who is willing to pay him now at this point in time, because that is the whole situation. He's holding out, obviously. So if you trade for him, you are going to need to definitely go ahead and open up the checkbook. So let me know in the comments what you think. Do you like, adding to your offense and again, going out there and getting Devonte Adams, Dante Johnson, which, like I said before, I just think that if you're going to go with the offense, I think that you should definitely go big. And I would go with Devonte Adams, even though it probably makes a lot more sense for the Raiders in that standpoint. But maybe, then again, maybe they don't do it. But I'm sure he would probably want to be paired back up with Aaron Rodgers. I think maybe he had a chance to maybe re-sign or go out there to them. But I could see if the Raiders are looking to go ahead and possibly get some draft compensation, maybe they don't want to keep him in the AFC, and maybe they would like to move him back to the NFC. And so I could see the Washington Commanders maybe stepping up here. I would love for them to get another offensive weapon, because I don't think it makes a lot of sense for the Washington Commanders to go out and get another running back. In fact, I think that they've gotten it correct with Brian Robinson Jr. and then bringing over Austin Eckler. So I think that, again, Devonte Adams would go very well with Terry McLaurin, Zach Ertz, Austin Eckler, Brian Robinson Jr. I think that that is a very dynamic offense there. And so defensively, again, I like Hassan Reddick to come over. I think that that makes a lot of sense for the Washington Commanders. Again, I like an EJ Speed at linebacker from the Indianapolis Colts. I think that that would certainly help us, especially on a team that has struggled to really tackle very well. So I think that that would help us. And he's also been pretty good too, as far as being in coverage as well. So he's a linebacker that we don't have to necessarily worry about as far as getting beat as far as pass route situations and things like that. So I do like that too, that he's versatile. And then too, just at the safety position, I mentioned it with Budda Baker. I would love to have a playmaking safety over here as well, because one of the things that the Washington Commanders have really struggled with is actually creating opportunities on the defensive end. And, that you saw last week against the Giants, how huge that is when you create turnovers, especially with a team that has struggled to put it in the end zone. It definitely helps if you have a defense that can flip the field. So I would love to have Budda Baker over here. So let me know in the comments if any of these players make sense for the Washington Commanders to trade for. In any case, we'll be talking a little bit more about the Washington Commanders as we move closer to Monday Night Football. I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace. This is Washington Commanders Insider. Take care.